Hey everybody, welcome back. So in this video we're basically trying to get the bike running. Like I said previously, I want to try to get this thing to run before I spend real money on it. So this is just that process of getting it to fire. First thing I did, pull out the airbox. It was pretty gross. Yeah, some mouse decided to make a home there. So everything was just, it smelled lovely. So, got that out. Got the battery out. I'm going to show you here the date on this guy. This thing was dead. Like, dead. I did try putting it on a battery charger after the fact, and you could like hear it boiling. Yeah, there you can see the date. Hopefully, yep, 08. This is 2024 right now, so yeah, old battery. So I tried to sort of make something happen here with an old car battery I had lying around, and you get to watch me fumble around with some jumper cables, and I really couldn't get this to work right, and I don't even know what the problem was. I'm pretty sure the battery had plenty of juice. Maybe I just wasn't getting a good connection on these jumper cables, but I just keep trying to use this. You can hear it here in a second when I go to try to crank it over, but for whatever reason, I just can't get a good amount of juice going to the bike here. So yeah, let's listen what this sounds like. Yeah. So rather than trying something easier, I just keep wiggling the connections and I'm stubborn. Yeah. Now I do have a jump box, but instead of, just getting the jump box, I keep trying this a couple more times, expecting something different to happen. And then, in my wisdom of the moment, you can see there at one point I tried putting a charger on the battery. I went and did get my jump box, and I connect it to the other battery rather than just connecting it to the bike. I don't know. Like I said, wisdom of the moment. But you can hear it's kicking over better. So I decided to give it some starting fluid. So the good thing at this stage is it seems like it turns over smoothly. I'm just still not getting enough current here. So finally my brain wakes up and decides to just directly connect the jump box to the bike instead of this like third party through the battery garbage I was coming up with. When I first connected, I still have the key on, so it's kind of yelling at me. Let's go ahead and kick the key off and back on again. Oh yeah, that's what it's supposed to sound like. So try the starting fluid again, but still can't really get it to kick over. Like, I got plenty of juice at this stage. So I start kind of thinking about why it's not firing. So, okay, if I'm giving it quote-unquote fuel, and I'm assuming spark at this point, the one thing that crossed my mind was that this is a vacuum petcock. There is no off switch on it. So as soon as the engine cranks, it's pulling fuel out of the tank, or in this case, old varnish. So I thought that might be causing a problem if that fuel can't burn because it's so old. So I went through the process of just disconnecting the tank, pulling it out entirely, trying to avoid, that affecting the engine wanting to run. So get this guy off and out of the way. That just eliminates one failure point. So once we're disconnected, go ahead and lift it away. Let's try to hear this thing fire again. Key's still on. Still turning over good, still got plenty of juice. Let's grab that starting fluid one more time. Hey, all right. Got some life. So in the Airbox, there was still a bunch of crap, that had gotten past the filter. So at this stage, I decided I wanted to get the Airbox off, just to make sure that all of that was clean. And I know at some point I'm going to take these carbs apart. But my God, what a pain in the ass to get this thing off. Like, it's not built to come off with the carbs still attached to the engine. This is clearly stated in the service manual, if you're the type of person that reads those things. So, yeah, I had to figure that out the hard way. The shape of the box and the shape of the frame, it literally cannot slide out while the carbs are still attached to the motor. So here I am just, trying to figure out what's all holding this thing in. There's actually a couple of bolts holding the plastic box to the frame. So we remove those and then start disconnecting these boots and like I said, discovering that, this isn't going to be quick. This is probably one of the reasons why everybody goes to pod filters. Just they don't want to deal with putting this back on again, because I know I sure don't. For the meantime, I'm going to try to keep it, but yeah, this is just, what a pain. So I did figure out, that those were in the way, so I started working on the boots on the engine side, slowly working that free. Finally got it separated enough that I was able to sort of pop everything out. But it was just, yeah. I mean, this is obviously edited. It probably took me an hour to get these stupid carbs off and get this get this Airbox out. 2 out of 10, do not recommend. Alright, finally getting the last of these boots off. Get it disconnected from this side. Finally able to just shove this thing through in the little amount of space that we had. Ugh, that felt so good. Alright, so once we had that completely disconnected, I was able to grab those boots and put the carbs back on. Yeah, look at that thing. It's the shape of it that won't let it slide out. In any case, get the boots back on, get the carbs reattached, which in itself is not as easy as it might look. These ports aren't straight, right? They don't go straight into the engine. They're actually splayed out, like away from each other from the engine center line. So it's a lot of like rotating those things and just moving everything around. I finally did get a battery and got that, mounted in there. So I didn't have to keep messing around with the jump box. So it's just a matter of keeping it charged up while I'm working on the bike so that doesn't die on me. So next, we're going to go ahead and try to run it on some actual gasoline. All right. So got it to kick over a little bit on some starting fluid. So I got rid of the jump box, put in an actual battery, got a brand new battery for it. Got ourselves some fresh fuel. After taking the airbox off, I did see that the slides were just a little bit sticky, so I sprayed some carb cleaner in there. They are going to need a rebuild at some point. I am well aware of that. But again, I just want to, before I start spending a bunch of money on other stuff, I want to make sure we got a runner here. So the choke cable was totally frozen up, so it might be a little tough to get it to start without that. I did get a generic choke cable, but apparently it's not going to work. It's not going to fit. So we're going to have to try to get a different one. We got some fresh fuel. I've sprayed a bunch of carb cleaner into the line so that some carb cleaner can get down into the bowls and into the needles a little bit, because God knows what that's like. But I think we might be ready to go here. Let me go ahead and turn on my fuel. Okay, I can hear fuel moving. I'm not seeing any leaks yet. That's a good thing. So that tells me that maybe my needles are actually doing their job in the bowls. All right, let's see what we got here. So fresh battery, we've got fuel, no choke like I mentioned, but let's just go ahead and see what we got here. So new battery, power on. Ooh. All right, let's try to manually choke this a little bit. And maybe a little bit of starting fluid to help us out. I wonder if I can put something in there. Oh, so I was holding up the choke, kind of bumping the start button with my shoulder. Yeah, that's what you do when you're all by yourself. While I was holding the choke up, it did run. As soon as I let go of the choke, the whole thing shut off. So let's try that again. All right, so we're going to enable the choke there. Trying to modulate the idle. We got ourselves a runner. A little bit of an uneven idle. I'm still holding the choke open right now. So as soon as I try to give it any kind of gas, it wants to die. So I'm just holding the choke, letting it warm up a little bit. It's probably this is like 6 to 10 years. It's the first time this thing has been running. I'm slowly letting go of the choke. Oh, I was almost completely off the choke there. Yeah, it's a little bit off. And I mean, that could be because I don't have the airbox on. Trying to increase the idle a little bit. Oh, and it went again. Yeah, I mean, it's getting warmed up. This is awesome. So like I said, it could be leaning out really badly because I don't have the Airbox on, because I don't have a replacement filter. That old filter was disgusting. Plus the Airbox itself was just full of dust and mouse droppings and hair. I don't even know, just funk, all kinds of funk. Yeah, I wonder if I'm going to struggle with that until I get some actual filter, restrict the airflow a little bit, get that Airbox back on there again. But hey, that sounds pretty damn good to me. I am pretty happy with that. Um, so now I guess my next steps are going to be trying to get it to stay running on its own. So I'm going to have to pick up a new air filter, clean out the Airbox, get that back on there. I might switch to pod filters eventually, once I try to transform this bike. But as I mentioned before, I just want to get this running and riding before I start going crazy with mods. So I'm going to try to put the stock stuff back together for now, get it running and riding, and then we'll see where this project takes us. But I am super happy. This engine sounds healthy. No knocking, no ping, no rattling really. It sounds good. Engine sounds good to me. So awesome.